Welcome back to JNA Sports Talk. Um, Unfortunately, I am by myself today as everyone is stuck in quarantine. So no, no Alex today. I just wanted to get out a video of my mock draft 1.0, about a month out from the draft, and I wanted to just reveal some of my picks. This is just my first real mock draft, and hopefully, come draft time, maybe Alex and I can record one big one together with our final picks before the draft. Uh, Not too long of a video. Just wanted to share my thoughts this upcoming draft. Love the draft. Some of my favorite times of the year. Get to you get to predict, and it's always a fun night. Draft night. First couple rounds are always exciting. But let's get right into it. First pick, obviously Cincinnati. I don't see them shopping this pick at all. I think they get their quarterback. I think it's going to be Joe Burrow. I think you can kind of lock that in right now, even 30 days away from the draft. Obviously, quarterback at LSU, Joe Burrow, incredibly high floor prospect. I mean, I think you know what you're going to get out of Joe Burrow come day one. Reports are coming out of Cincinnati that they're going to keep Andy Dalton as a backup. I don't mind that at all. I think that'll be good. Good for Burrow to have someone like Dalton. And I like Andy Dalton. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback, but it's obviously time for Cincinnati fans to cheer on a new quarterback. He stays in his home state. Fans are going to love that. Easy market. Number one pick, lock him in. He's your starter. Number two, Washington. I think that they're going to go with the best prospect in the draft, and Chase Young. He's a generational talent, absolute incredible athlete. He had 16 and a half sacks this past year, and it's exciting to think of Chase Young coming to the NFL. We watched him play with Bosa last year, Nick Bosa, or 2 years ago rather, and you saw they were comparable. Chase Young is an absolute phenom, and Washington will be able to solidify their defense. Him coming off the edge, he is could be an All-Pro in his rookie contract, so that should be exciting. Third overall pick, Detroit Lions currently have it. I don't have any trades in my first mock draft because they're so hard to predict, and one trade could throw off the entirety of the draft. Probably in my second mock draft, I'll have some trades, but this is definitely a popular trade pick that may be traded in people's mock draft. But I see the Detroit Lions end up keeping it, and I think Jeff Okudah will be the pick, cornerback out of Ohio State. He is an instant starter. He is freaky athletic, incredible footwork, as you saw at the combine. He did very well at the combine. You put on the tape of him, he's just absolute lockdown. He's an elite corner. He's not known for his tackling, but he doesn't mind getting in there, getting dirty. You can see if you put on the tape against the run, he doesn't mind getting his shoulders low, hitting hard. I love Jeff Okudah. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. And Detroit can replace Darius Slay, who is now a Philadelphia Eagle. Fourth pick, New York Giants. Now, this is a tough one to pick. People predicting offensive linemen, getting a big hog in there. Dave Gettleman loves his big boys. People predicting Isaiah Simmons, the Clemson product linebacker. I think they stay big up front. They take Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. 6'5", incredibly athletic. He'll start immediately. The Giants need to justify their pick in Daniel Jones, and it'll be much harder to see results with Isaiah Simmons going to be a Giant than Tristan Wirfs. Give some time to Daniel Jones to throw to those wide receivers. Slayton's going to be better next year. You still have Shepard, Saquon, hopefully opening up some more gaps on the stretch runs, but I predict that they'll go with their hog. They'll go with Tristan Wirfs. I think he's the best tackle, best offensive lineman in the draft. but I could definitely see Isaiah Simmons going there as well. Number 5, Miami Dolphins, their first round pick, the 2020 draft. I predict that they're gonna go with the QB. I could see them trading up, but they might not need to. I think they're gonna get their guy in Tua, and the concerns obviously with his health, many injuries, but man, his ceiling is incredibly high. Probably higher than Joe Burrow's. Tua crazy accurate. His completion percentage in 2018 was around 69%. Last year, 2019, although it was a shortened season, he still had just shy of 72% completion percentage, which is incredible. As accurate as it can come. Got a great arm, can run, can scramble. So you need to think about Tua throwing to, possibly Devontae Parker, and the next wide receiver I have them taking. I think Miami fans can get excited to cheer on Tua. At number 6, Justin Herbert out of Oregon, quarterback, obviously. It's no secret you're gonna need a really good quarterback to win football games, and I do like Tyrod Taylor. He did bring the Bills to the playoffs a couple of years ago, but he isn't bringing the Chargers to the playoffs. I don't think, not in that division. Justin Herbert stays on the West Coast. Very smart kid, and great arm, absolute cannon of an arm. Give something for LA fans to go to the stadium for, to cheer on, sell some tickets. Rookie quarterback. It's gonna also come down to if they make a move. Cam Newton, possibly. He's still lingering as I'm recording this now on March 29th. I could see Cam Newton going to the Chargers. I think that'd be a good fit. But as of right now, Cam Newton does not have a home. So it's possible that Justin Herbert finds his team in the LA Chargers. Number 7, Isaiah Simmons has got to come off the board at some point, and he falls into the laps of the Panthers. Clemson product. He plays everywhere. He plays linebacker, he plays safety. He came off the edge a few times. Crazy athlete. He makes plays. Panthers would be very fortunate to get a player like Isaiah Simmons at number 7. He's a top 4 prospect in the draft. He's fun to watch. We watched him last year, and I absolutely love the kid. I think he's going to be really good. Number 8, you have Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, they did very well this free agency, and they stole away DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans. I don't think that the trade was as bad as people thought it was for the Texans. They had to dump some cap, and I think that the Texans will do just fine. But I think they go big up front on the D line. They get Derek Brown out of Auburn. They already signed DJ Humphries, so they have a tackle. People think that they might go tackle here. I think they stay big up front with a very, very solid player, Derek Brown. He didn't show incredibly at the combine, but he's just an absolute specimen. Makes plays, very quick off the ball. Cardinals get a game wrecker in Derek Brown at number 8. Number 9, the second cornerback taken off the board to Jacksonville will be Florida cornerback CJ Henderson. He's great, very quick, 4.39 speed at the combine. They have to replace Ramsey and Boye. They lost both of them. They have to get someone to cover these wide receivers. So he's got incredible ball skills. He's 6'1", same height as Okudah, probably slightly quicker, but not as polished as a prospect as Okudah. But CJ Henderson, very great cornerback. He stays in the state. Good marketing for Jacksonville. A very solid player at number 9. Number 10 is the Cleveland Browns. They had a very good free agency, but they want to still solidify that offensive line for Baker and the boys. So I think they go offensive tackle to Georgia, Andrew Thomas. The Georgia Bulldog was, before the combine, when this whole, when the mock drafts first came out, he was a top 3 pick, top 5 pick. They thought he was the best offensive tackle in the draft. He didn't show as well as Tristan Wirfs did at the combine, or Jedrick Willis is maybe a bit better athlete. Kai Becton kind of surprised people too with his speed. I still think Andrew Thomas is very, very solid. Maybe a slight bias there, the Georgia Bulldogs, but I think he'll do very well for the Browns. That offense should be cooking this season. So I think Andrew Thomas lands at number 10. Number 11, the Jets select Jedrick Willis, I believe, offensive tackle at Alabama. I could see the Jets trading back at this pick. They went heavy this offseason on the offensive line, picking up a few guards. Definitely not enough to keep Darnold comfortable in the pocket. They didn't pick up any huge names in free agency, just solid guys that they believe could get the job done. So I think they go with a very, very good, tackle in Jedrick Willis. He'll be able to, protect Sam Darnold. Again, justify, Sam Darnold being the next thing there in New York. Number 12, Jerry Jeudy, I think, lands with the Las Vegas Raiders. They lost AB last year, and who was the most similar AB prospect in this draft? Probably Jerry Jeudy. Very quick, best route running skills in the draft. Love him a lot. I personally prefer CeeDee Lamb, but Jerry Jeudy, I think, will find a home in Las Vegas. Very easy sell for Las Vegas Raiders fans to come see Jerry Jeudy make plays. Very good wide receiver, and a deep wide receiver class this year. Number 13, San Francisco. They take the pick from the Colts. Obviously, Armstead moving in the offseason via trade. They got to start thinking cornerback. Richard Sherman's only getting older. Although, PFF had Richard Sherman as the best corner last year, the eye test, would kind of tell differently. They need to get ready for the future. And I think Christian Fulton out of LSU, great corner. He's best in man-to-man, as that's what they play in Louisiana. They got to think that he's next. He can learn, doesn't need to start immediately. But very, very good cornerback prospect. I think lands in San Francisco. Number 14, another offensive tackle, Kai Becton out of Louisville. And when it comes to Becton, it's about his size, 6'7", 370. But he is incredibly smooth. You flick on the tape, just an absolute bulldozer. But he's scary athletic for someone for that size. Exciting player for Tom Brady, in the draft to protect him. A big hog up front will be able to allow him to create time to throw to that incredible wide receiver core. Number 15, Denver Broncos. They get excited here as well for another wide receiver in Henry Ruggs. Obviously, the speedster out of Alabama. He'll provide something coming off of Cortland Sutton. He's much faster than Sutton. Sutton can stay out wide. And, Henry Ruggs could be that Z wide receiver, or possibly coming into the slot. Can stretch the field for Drew Lock. Lock showed a lot of optimism towards the end of the season last year when he took over as a starter. So maybe the Broncos find their next big hit in Henry Ruggs. Number 16, Atlanta selects, I believe, a cornerback out of TCU, Jeff Gladney. He's a very tough, scrappy wide receiver, and Atlanta's got to start thinking that they got some very good quarterbacks in that division, and they need someone to cover these wide receivers. So a very good prospect out of TCU, Gladney, be able to tackle. He's good in coverage, decent ball skills, but they definitely got to find someone in the secondary there. Dallas, number 17, obviously my favorite team. I would prefer them to take a corner or safety. Now, I think the best corners are taken off the draft, already taken. out of the draft board. You know, you look at safeties. You have Xavier McKinney out of Bama. You have Grant Delpit. I'd prefer they take McKinney at this spot, but I don't make the decisions for Dallas. So I believe they're going to take the Clavon Chasen out of LSU, edge rusher. Excuse me. Very, very fast, flashy, speedster. Can be on the opposite side of Demarcus Lawrence. It'll provide more sacks. You know, Robert Quinn had to leave in free agency. That was a very good 1 year stint, but they need someone to get to the quarterback, and Lawrence has a questionable past with injuries, so maybe you find your next big stud in Chasen. 18 Miami with their second pick in the first round. I believe they go with CeeDee Lamb. Now, if Ruggs or Judy was available at 18, I believe they go with the Bama guy to link him up with Tua. But Tua's not going to be too upset. If CeeDee Lamb falls to 18, they get a wide receiver. Him and Parker are able to do absolute work there in Miami. The Oklahoma product was incredible at the combine, greatest pro day. After the catch kind of guy. Not going to light you up with speed, but once the ball's in his hands, he's got those comparisons to DeAndre Hopkins. Number 19, Las Vegas Raiders picking it again. And maybe a surprising pick here. He's not high on my board, but I believe he'll be high on the Raiders board. Is Kenneth Murray, who's a linebacker out of Oklahoma. He's just an absolute brute, big guy, very strong, likes to get down and make those tackles. He's a Mike Mayock kind of player. Last year we saw Clinton Farrell go, very high. Was it, justified? I don't know. I think Kenneth Murray climbs up the board, and someone like Gruden falls in love with him. They have Jonathan Abrams from last year at safety. I could see them going with McKinney, but I think they go with a hard hitter in Kenneth Murray at number 19. Number 20, a defensive tackle of South Carolina who had an absolutely incredible Senior Bowl, was Javon Kinlaw, and he probably won't fall to 20, but I could see him falling with just such an incredible draft this year. He falls into the last with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost some, players, free agency, most notably Calais Campbell, to the Ravens. They need to get to the quarterback. Kinlaw is long. He's explosive, great athlete. He'll be able to, get some pressure in the interior of the line, and I think he's an absolute stud. So he falls at 20 for the Jaguars. Number 21, the Eagles, Philadelphia. They got many needs, including wide receiver. I think with just such a deep class, they don't take him. They don't take a wide receiver. I think they go with a linebacker position in Patrick Queen out of LSU. Kind of a forgotten position for the Eagles, but they need to solidify that defense. Patrick Queen, very good in the pass game, so he'll be able to do work with the tight ends. He's a very solid player. I think a high floor kind of player. So he falls to 21 for the Eagles. Number 22, Minnesota earns this pick in the Stephon Diggs trade, obviously. Maybe they go wide receiver here. I could see that happening. I don't think they do. I think they go at the edge with a player I like is A.J. Epinesa out of Iowa. Second Iowa player to go in the first round. They're losing Everson Griffin to free agency, most likely. They need someone to come off the edge. Another high floor prospect in Epinesa. I think that he fits Minnesota very well. Just a very tough guy. He'll be able to come off the edge. Not incredibly quick. Didn't have an incredible combine, but he'll be able to do work in his first year and replace that Everson Griffin kind of pressure off the edge. Number 23, the Patriots select. They have a pick. I think they pull the trigger and go with quarterback. People think wide receiver. There's many people think Zach Bond out of Wisconsin. I think they pull the trigger. Jordan Love falls to 23. They get their quarterback. Lots of tools. He's a high ceiling kind of player out of Utah State. I like Jordan Love. I liked him since last year. He was probably better last year than he was this year. But he's a very impressive quarterback. Big fan of his, and I'd love to see him fall to New England and hopefully um, get some time in there. 24. The Saints select. They need to make a run this year. Drew Brees is only getting older. He's on a 2-year contract. What will make fans excited? LSU product, Justin Jefferson, absolutely tore it up at the Natty last year. Big numbers. He stays in the state. Fans can get very excited, can support that easily. Brees' wide receiver core will be absolutely phenomenal. Michael Thomas, they picked up Sanders in free agency. Obviously, Jared Cook is the tight end there, great pass catcher. Their wide receiver core will be set for the year, make a run at it, hopefully win the bowl for those New Orleans fans. 25, Minnesota selects again. I could see wide receiver, but I do think they have to take a cornerback. People know, these NFL teams know that if you want to win, you need a solid corner. You need corners to take these incredible wide receivers. I think another Oklahoma State cornerback is Damon Arnett. He has great vision, great ball skills, very tough player, kind of scrappy. He'll go to Minnesota, replace. He'll probably do better than Xavier Rhodes because he was absolutely horrific this past year. Xavier Rhodes obviously went to the Colts in free agency, I believe. He was a free agent. So Damon Arnett goes to Minnesota and helps out that secondary, which is quite depleted. 26, Miami selects again. Their third pick in the first round. And they go with, in my opinion, the best safety in this class, and Xavier McKinney out of Bama. He is probably a mini Minkah Fitzpatrick, who obviously left Miami, went to Pittsburgh. They received a first-round pick for him. Xavier McKinney is very tough, better tackler than Grant Delpit. Those are probably the two best safeties in the draft. Maybe Delpit's better with ball skills. Xavier McKinney will be able to tackle. Second Alabama player they take in the draft. It'll be great for the Miami secondary now with Byron Jones, Xavier Howard. Very strong team, very exciting team in Miami. I hope they do well. 27, Seattle selects. I think they go with a high IQ player, some juice, and Zach Bond out of Wisco. Obviously, the edge rusher, great combine, absolutely skyrocketed his value. He'll be a great player for Pete Carroll's defense. We go in right away. Some juice off the edge. He's fast. Hopefully get to the quarterback there. 28, Baltimore. The Ravens want to keep Lamar going. They want to keep proving that he is the MVP. I think they go with a wide receiver. Hopefully Marquise Hollywood Brown is better in his second year. And they have Mark Andrews, who great pass catching tight end. Maybe someone who can stretch the field, but they can also go to those intermediate routes. Someone that I like and a friend of mine likes is Denzel Wims out of Baylor. I think he's a under-the-radar, sneaky good prospect. I like him a lot. And, he might not fall. He might not fall to this pick, or he might not even go in the first round. I think, his status is up in the air of where he's going to go. But big fan of Denzel Wims. Falls to Baltimore. I think that's a great pick for him. Number 29 is Tennessee. The Titans, in my opinion, will take an offensive tackle out of USC and Austin Jackson. A great story. He's a very good player as well. They lost Conklin free agency, so they'll be able to pick up Austin Jackson, and he'll be able to preserve Ryan Tannehill's career, keep Derrick Henry chugging. So I think it's a solid player for Tennessee. He's not as great as the other offensive tackles in the draft, but he's still a solid prospect. Number 30, Packers select. I think they'll go with a wide receiver. They need someone to kind of go underneath those intermediate routes. All three levels of the field. I think the player for them is the TCU prospect, Jalen Rieger. I like him a lot as well. Just such a deep wide receiver class this year. Um, there's many other wide receivers you could see going here, but you put it on the tape, absolutely lightning quick. Although at the combine he didn't have that kind of speed. The tape shows he's blowing past people. So I think if the Packers select Rieger, they get a stud. He can start, and he can do lots of work for Green Bay and Matt LaFleur's offense. 31, San Francisco picks again, their second pick in the first round. I also think they need to get a wide receiver to replace the loss of Emmanuel Sanders. I think Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State, hopefully I didn't pronounce that incorrectly, very good wide receiver. He's kind of climbing up boards as of late. I like him a lot. I think he's very quick, great hands, and they need to get someone for Jimmy G to throw to. The last pick in the first round is obviously Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. I think they want to help out that secondary, kind of weak on the perimeter, get a high football IQ player. I think that player is AJ Terrell out of Clemson. The corner was not incredible last year for the Tigers, but a player that will be able to help out that that depleted secondary. They got a good safety last year, Juwan Thornhill, who I like a lot, who I wish was a Cowboy right now, but they get AJ Terrell. He'll be able to start and do work for the Chiefs. So that concludes the first round of the my mock draft. I'm obviously only going to do one round. Hopefully by end of April, we're not stuck in our houses anymore, and me and Alex can record one with trades, our final predictions before the draft. I appreciate you if you made it this far in the video. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.